Who does not love a good low kick? They won't guarantee you a knockout, but if you apply them long enough with enough force, your opponent will be drained, they will be exhausted. They won't be able to stand on their feet anymore if you go at it long enough. If you hit their upper leg, they will get muscle fatigue. If you hit the side of the knee, they will be definitely disbalanced. If you hit the lower part, they won't be able to stand on their feet properly anymore and get their support for actually making punches. But doing a low kick properly involves quite some techniques, involves quite some steps. You can just go at it and really kick someone, but if you have the technique right, it will definitely be a lot better. So a low kick involves preparational steps and executional steps. To prepare properly for a low kick, the most important thing is to actually rotate your balancing foot outwards. What I mean by that is if I'm going to land a low kick with my left foot, my balancing foot will be my right, and I need to make sure that I step slightly outwards and point my toes also outwards. The reason for this is I'm going to make a low kick from the side and hit the opponent orthogonally to where I'm facing them, and my toes should actually point in the same direction as I'm landing the kick. So that means that I need to move them outwards and then come in with a kick that is moving in the same direction as my toes already are. I also make sure that they're slightly stepping across to where my opponent is, because that means I will actually be able to move my leg far easier just across where the opponent is. So really make an impact as if I want to end about 3 to 4 inches just behind my opponent. And this will give me more impact. So where do you land a low kick? There's different choices. You can land them on the calf, you can land them on the shin bone, definitely if they're going to block it, but this requires conditioning. You can aim for the ankle if you want to be lean and mean, for the knees or for the upper leg. These are all fine, but whatever you do, especially in a match setting, make sure that you target the same area over and over, right? So if you go for the upper leg, make sure that you keep going for the upper leg to exhaust the opponent. The part of the low kick that you hit your opponent with should not be your foot. And it should also not be the upper part of your lower leg. It should be, let's say, the lower part with your shin bone connected. So you should make sure that you really hit them properly with a strong point of your leg, which is the shin bone, right? It's a very hard part, you can condition it really well. Now, as you do this, make sure that you step out, make sure that you're pointing your toes towards the direction that you're aiming for, and lastly, make sure that you rotate your hips. Yeah, this is going to give you that extra force. So you rotate your hips first, and as a consequence of that, your leg will follow, like that. You can do this with your front leg, you can do it with your rear leg, just to show you a couple. So with your front leg, step and then make the kick. If you do it with your rear leg, there's no step, you just rotate your foot outwards and kick, so it's a bit easier. But if you do it with your front leg, you also have the choice to make a switch. So a switch is nothing more than turning your front leg into your rear leg with a small jump. So you jump, now it's my rear leg, make sure that you rotate, boom. Or if you want to, you can jump and rotate in one go and make the kick. The reason for doing a switch is that the range of motion is bigger than if you were to just do it from here. Yeah? So there's about a feet, 2 feet more of rotational movement that I can actually make, and that will actually help you make a bigger impact. Yeah, so switching can be useful, but also mind you, it will take you longer to land the actual kick. And if you really get low kicks done properly, if you really get the hang of it, you will see that just doing them from your front leg directly with the speed involved, if you can land the power, if you can land the impact, that's actually going to surprise your opponent far more. So my preference is to just do it without a switch. Now to just show you a couple of low kicks done well, and mind the feet, mind the rotational movement. So that's low kicks, and one last thing just to add to that is there's a couple of ways you can actually land the impact of the low kick. So you can decide to come from down below upwards in a diagonal motion. Yeah? So down below upwards, that would kind of look like this, where you really come from down below, move it upwards. That's one choice you have. You can try and make it horizontal. So make sure that your knees come up and that you hit it horizontally. And you can even decide to come from above and slice it to down below. Yeah, so go high to down below. The last one really requires more rotation in the hips to make it work. And the first one is probably the fastest. So depending on what works well, you really need to read the match, really need to read your opponent. Depending on what works well, you can choose one or the other. They're all fine, but if they constantly block your low kicks with their shin bone, it might make sense to really get up higher and come from down below, just to get that element of surprise. So this is how you do low kicks.